Hello everyone, welcome back. In this session, we will see how to write comments in Python. Okay, so we will start our discussion with what is a comment. So, comment is a description of the code. It describes what is written in the code, what was the logic behind writing that code, what was the objective of writing that code. And writing comments in your code is always optional. So a programmer may prefer to write the comment or may not prefer to write it. Okay. Then the next thing is using comments in the code increases the program readability. So for example, let's say I have written one code long time back and it was a complex code, and today I go back to the code and try to figure out what logic was written in the code. So reading the code line by line, it will always be a time consuming task, as well as it will be a difficult task for me to understand what was actually written in the code. But if I would have written that code with comments, it will be easier for me to read and understand the code written at that time. Hence, we can say that writing comments increases the program readability. And comments are used in almost all the programming languages. So some of the examples are C language, Java is there, Python is also there, and various other programming languages are there where we use comments. Comments makes the debugging task easier. Okay, so when we use the deep word debugging, the question comes in our mind that why we use debugging. So the reason for using debugging is either there is some error in the code or there is some change in the requirement in the code. Okay, in both the scenarios, we'll have to go back to the code and figure out what needs to be changed in order to fix the bug or in order to fulfill the newer requirement. But if that code has been written without comments, this debugging task will be difficult. Why? Because lots of lines are written in a very large project, and reading the code line by line, it's always a very difficult task. Okay, but if that code has been written with some comments, it will be easier for us to debug that code, and it will be easier for us to go directly to the line where we need to implement the change in order to fix the bug or to fulfill the new requirement. Okay, hence we can say that debugging task becomes easier when we use comments in our code. Then Python comment starts with hash. So hash symbol is used to write comments in the Python code, and the range of this hash symbol will be to the end of the line. Okay, now let's write one simple multiplication program in our Python IDE. So I'll say a equals to 10, and then I put a comment that this is a first variable. Okay, now let's write second variable b and again put a comment second variable. Then the variable spelling is wrong, so it is variable. Then in the third line I'll write c equals to a into b. Again I'll put one comment third variable storing result of multiplication. And finally I'll write print. In print I'll pass one message result equals to, and then I'll pass the variable which is holding the result of the multiplication of variable a and b. Now let's run this code. So you can see here in the console that we are getting the output as result equals to 200. Okay, and also we have written, since we have written the comments in each and every line, hence it is easier for us to figure out why that line of the code has been written. Okay, here also we can put one comment that print the result. Okay, so in this way you can write the comment in your code. Okay, now let's go back, and next thing is you can write comment anywhere in your code. So there is no restriction that you have to write the comment either in the starting of the code or in the end of the code. So for example, whatever the code that we have written here, you can see that I have written the comment in every line of the code. Okay, so there is no restriction. You can write comment anywhere in your code. Now, one last thing is, when we use hash within a single quotes or double quotes, Python treat it as a character of the string. In that case, hash will not be treated as a comment. For example, let's say if I write here one simple example, and inside the single quote I write here hash, this is a Python learning session. Now when I print this variable var and run this code, so you can see here this hash is also coming along with this string. Okay, so when we use hash inside a single quotes, or you may want to put this code, this string in double quotes, then also when you run it, you will get the same output. So that means when you use hash within single quotes or double quotes, Python will treat it as a character of the string. That hash will not be treated as a comment. And when we use comment, when we define comments explicitly in our code and execute our code, in that case Python just ignores all the comment and it will just execute the genuine line of the codes. Okay, that's all for this session. Thank you.